Attention, you are about to hear the captivating voice of an icon in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique. Brilliant. And unpredictable. Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yes, okay, we're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show.
Good day. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I want to cover all the bases. So whatever time of the day it's at in your particular part of the nation or world, here I am. I'm in sunny, let's say, Florida. Yes, I moved to Florida after 44 years of being in Los Angeles. I'm finally here. I'm learning a lot of different things, but I guess what I want to talk about mostly right now is the wonderful LA Rams championship, the win against the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's bittersweet, I guess, because, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of Bengal fans. I have a friend of mine here, Bill, who's from Florida, but not originally. I think he's a Boston fan. Correct. And so you were you going for the Rams or for the
I just
the
wanted
Bengals.
a good football game,
and that's what we got.
It was a great game. But if I had to pick, then yeah, I was going for the Bengals because Zach Taylor, the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, I actually played football with him in high school.
Oh, you did?
I did. I was a senior. He was a sophomore.
Where?
In Norman, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. That's
Yep.
right. You're an Oklahoma boy.
Yep. So
in Florida.
And then of course Joe Mixon, Samaje P. Ryan. They both played running back for the University of Oklahoma. Go Sooners. And you know they played for the Bengals as well. So it was a great game. A little disappointing there at the end, but good to see Matthew Stafford. He paid his dues, took his licks in Detroit, and he earned that one.
Yes. And LA went wild.
I can imagine.
You know, I mean, LA is very happy, and my son Nick knows a lot about sports. He was a play-by-play on the game. What I looked at was the politics, of course.
Yeah.
I'm looking at every commercial, and I'm looking at every celebrity that showed up, and to me, I'm looking at the politics in the game. And it's very frustrating because it's so evident, and it changed from when I was a kid. You know, it changed from when I was a kid, and let's put it this way: most of the celebrities that I saw on the air at the game, you know, they showed you Charlize Theron and LeBron James and Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck and, you know, I mean, a lot of people, and Jay-Z, and I guess on social media, there was a huge outcry because they weren't wearing masks. And all those celebrities were all doing commercials before about wearing masks. But since the new standard from CDC, I guess there's some new information that I've been hearing the last couple of days about masks. And I will have my mask with me, and I'll put it on if I think it's needed, and don't if it's not needed. And so the mask mandate is changing. Do you find that too? Is it loosening up, you think?
Well, here in Florida, I mean, we haven't had one
at all.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis. I mean, he's stood his ground and stuck to his guns for this entire time. And it's funny because that's what you're seeing, those liberal politicians and celebrities come to Florida after they're doing their commercials and all their stuff for mask mandates and vaccines and all that stuff, pushing their agenda. Then they come down here for vacation so they don't have to wear their masks, and they're buying houses down here. It really is. It's funny because the duplicitous nature of what they do is clear as day.
Yeah, and that's been going on for a while.
Long time.
And most people have seen that and have talked about it, but when they do talk about it, they get canceled. I.e. Joe Rogan, if you go against the grain or against the current of whatever it is the talking point for the day that everyone gets on the bandwagon for. But this idea of celebrities not wearing the mask, I understand it. Maybe they were all tested, maybe they were all vaccinated, maybe they were all, and it was in a safe area. Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to criticize them for not wearing their masks. I criticize them for not speaking up about homelessness in Los Angeles. That's where they should be talking about, the way athletes use a big event like the Super Bowl. I think Eminem, who, you like his music, he took a knee at the very end of his song, which I think they told him not to, and he did take a knee. I thought Dr. Dre was good. I think he was cool and he was kind of respectful. There didn't seem to be, there was fear at one point that Snoop Dogg would do something about the police, something negative. That didn't seem to be too negative. And some people calling it the best halftime show that they've ever seen, and other people are I know on the social media are talking about that, about the halftime show, the hip hop and rap together, and how that, but you have to realize we live in a different world, I guess. This is what the kids have grown up on. More than kids. People of all generations now have embraced hip hop and rap. I remember when it first came out, it was called by some great artists an expression from the street, a spontaneous expression, artistic expression of how they're feeling and what's going on. And that might be. But at the same time, there is some people say, well, last night was music. They said, I think last year, The Weeknd didn't get received so well. That show and this show here, I guess, was received well. But I was looking at more than that. I was looking at also the camaraderie on the field between black and white. These guys, all great players, all at the top of their game, and each and every one of them seemed to be respectful on the team they're playing for. There didn't seem to be a lot of the animosity you see on the basketball field. I don't know why that is. It's interesting. I don't know why that's not. And of course, the NFL has been, it hasn't been China-sized like the NBA has.
Right.
And I think that maybe there's something there, and the individual owners of those teams in football still have a closer tie to the nation, I think, in a certain way, as opposed to being globalists. I wonder if that's a reason for the unity on the teams and the respect that they had for each other and for the game and for the public. It was an exciting game. It was you can always Monday quarterback it, but I found it engaging and very, very exciting. I don't watch a lot of the games anymore. I played when I was younger, but I stopped watching because I'm not a spectator. It's like with the music, I know you're a musician, and I'd rather be up on the stage than performing than watching. There's something in me that yearns, that hurts so badly when it's not me performing or expressing myself. And that happened to me when I stopped playing football. As a teenager, I got sick right after junior year in high school. I went to Seton Hall High School. I was all county, all state. I was looked at by Weeb Eubank, who was the coach of the Jets at the time, because John Schmidt, who was the center during the Joe Namath era, he was the center, and he had gone to Seton Hall. And the coach, Henry Reed, great coach, wonderful coach. I mean, those coaches there, he was like the most winningest coach in Long Island. It's where I come from. And we were 27-0 the 3 years I played. in private. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. So anyway, after I stopped playing, that hurt me. You know what I mean? That was you have to take off. You okay? You good? Okay. So that was interesting to me, but I didn't like the self-serving aspect of The Rock. When The Rock showed up there, I mean, and here's why. And I think The Rock is a national figure that everyone respects, and what he's accomplished is amazing. It's absolutely amazing what he's accomplished, and I respect him for that, and his art and the standard where he put himself now in business and in the entertainment industry. But yet, what I'm confused at, and maybe the listener has a different point of view on this, let me know what you think. Because what I feel is that if you look at The Rock's Instagram, there he is during COVID, and he's working out in his huge private gym, his own private gym, and on his own private plane, and on his own private, and he's selling goods and for everything from sneakers to tequila to the public. And he obviously has enough money for, to live the rest of his life comfortably. And he should. And he should continue to make more money. This is what is great about America. But what I didn't understand with The Rock was his outright support of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And I saw that interview he did with the two of them, and I was shocked at the vacuous aspect of that incident. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about my perception of that meeting.
I'm Al Simon, 91 years young. I created Balance 7 20 years ago. I don't believe God intended for us to be old and sick. For 10 years, I studied pH and how important it is to the immune system. No doctor or hospital can do what Balance 7 can do for you. Balance 7 is the key to unlocking a healthy immune system. In 3 days' time, you'll feel more energy, less joint discomfort, and clarity of thinking. Bring your body back to balance. Order now and receive free shipping and a free bottle of My Smooth Skin.
Get your body back in pH balance with Balance7.com. Balance 7 unlocks the immune system. Your body will respond in a wondrous way. Your energy level will go up, joint discomfort will be reduced, and heartburn no longer a problem. We have a 100% money-back guarantee. You have everything to gain. If you're sick and you don't want to be, Balance 7 is the answer. If you're healthy and want to stay healthy, Balance 7 is the answer. Go to Balance7.com. That's Balance7.com. Use the code word BALANCE and get free shipping. Balance7.com. That's Balance7.com.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
For the getaway of your dreams, come to Hawaii's Playground, Ka'anapali Beach Resort, on the fun side of Maui, where the world comes to play. Find your spot on Ka'anapali Beach with 3 miles of white sand, 12 resort properties, 2 golf courses, and 2 shopping centers. Enjoy the playground of Hawaii's ancient royalty. Ka'anapali Beach Resort is Hawaii's original master planned destination resort and home of the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. With views of 2 neighboring islands, you can breathe in the land's natural beauty from your favorite resort or golf fairway. Come experience Ka'anapali's own special brand of Hawaiian hospitality with world-class dining, relaxing resorts, water sports, and activities of every kind. For romantic, family, and great friend getaways, discover the options of Ka'anapali Beach Resort, where the world comes to play. Plan your getaway today. Visit Ka'anapaliResort.com. That's KAANAPALI Resort.com.
Robert Davi.
want you to know this is nothing personal. It's purely business. So, my dear friends, what we found was what we were talking about before the break. Is The Rock, who I respect and appreciate his talents and what he's accomplished in the business, and his great success, a marvelous success. And I mean, he had a nice leg up because his dad had great accomplishment. You know, it's not like somebody starting in the business that had no leg up.
Right.
He had a huge leg up because his dad was a bit of a superstar, legendary guy. You know, so in terms of self-made, not quite, but what he accomplished was amazing. He surpassed what his father did, and his father was a legend in that business. But what I found frustrating with The Rock is that his self-promotion, while people are suffering, people didn't have jobs, people couldn't go to the gym, people couldn't fly, and he was doing all these Instagram posts with himself on a plane in his gym, whatever it was. And I don't say that there's anything wrong with that, but what I do say is, you know, it's almost, was there no self-awareness? Because this is supposedly a man of the people. Now, if I'm a man of the people, I'm not gonna, during this crisis of people not being able to go to the gym or do their jobs or fly or whatever it might be, I'm not gonna be in the process of self-promoting myself and showing everybody, hey guys, look at all the great stuff I have. Look at all the wonderful things I have. I think that would be a little bit, it's hurtful. And then, who does he come out and support? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, I watched the whole interview he had, supposedly. And that was, you know, it was staged, it was set up. But I expected more from him again. I expected something much more spontaneous, more honest, more direct, more outside the box. He owes it to the public, his fans, not to be a couching tiger political. It would just rub me the wrong way. I don't know. How did it rub you? Am I making too much of this? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think from
talking to my friend Bill, who's from Florida, via Oklahoma.
Thank you for having me, Rob. From a layman's perspective, I mean, you'd almost expect The Rock to be, again, one of those coastal elites that he's going to jump in and support Biden, support Harris, or, you know, even if Bernie had gotten the nomination, I think there would definitely be some support there as well. That's just, in my opinion, having lived in some very red places, that you're going to get those people that are those mega stars, especially when they're into the self-promotion, that are going to go with the liberal Democrats and the progressives and support all their policies without raising any questions.
And the thing, again, it's the elite. Again, the elite. Bill is a musician and he's a working guy. You know, when you have to act and sing and play an instrument or whatever it is, and you're doing the arts, you have something else that puts food on the table. And you consider yourself a blue-collar guy, you think?
Absolutely.
And you've been your whole life, you think?
Absolutely.
And your family was a hard-working family?
Yes, my father was in the military for 27 years. That's all I've ever known from him was just hard work. Getting up, leaving early every day, coming home at night, or, you know, he'd be gone TDY on trips with the Air Force. But ever since I'm 14 years old, I'm working, officiating sports because sports has always been a passion. And then, you know, as I got older, whatever the job was, and you know, now, yeah, I'm definitely.
And your dad had an affection for the nation, for America.
Oh, absolutely, very patriotic.
He was patriotic.
Yeah, he served. So he did his time, and then now he's a mechanical engineer for a company in Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. Still working at 60s. Gosh, how old is he? 20. He'll be 69 in June.
Mm-hmm.
He's still working.
You see, we talk about the flyover people. Bill is originally from Oklahoma, now in Florida. For how long have you been in Florida?
Just under a year.
Under a year?
Yeah,
from Oklahoma?
Yep.
All right, so just under a year he's in Florida. So flyover, so the perspective and the disdain that the left has and disrespect that the left has for millions and millions and millions of people like Bill. The sleeping giant, they said the deplorables, right? They call them deplorables. Hillary Clinton called Bill and people like us deplorable because we think differently than they do, than the big city people do. You see, this is the problem with the democracy idea. When you don't have the electoral college, you have the big cityites on the left and the right coast that would squash and minimize the people like Bill in Oklahoma, in the Carolinas, in Georgia, in other countries, Wyoming, wherever it might be, across the country, that are not on the coast, concentrated on the coast, these urban centers of so supposedly great thinking, and where it's not. It's debauchery and some of it is insane. So I would have much preferred The Rock to have not come out, or at least when he was with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, to ask honest questions. And when I tell you they were softballs, my 3-year-old, well, she's 2, she'll be 3, she could have hit them out of the park if they were pitched to her that way. If they were marshmallow, it was soap bubbles, is what
balls.
Beach balls and the size of soap bubbles, and or soap bubbles the size of beach balls. That's what he talked to them about, and so now he comes on and he does this, and every other celebrity, there's a vying for these commercial spots. And it's fun to see Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's been environmental to play Zeus, the new electric car by BMW or whatever it was. And to see your favorite celebrity pop up in an unsuspecting commercial. I know my son was excited to see, even Mike Myers come along. You know what I mean?
That was great.
I mean, and I noticed that Rob Lowe didn't say anything, did he? In that commercial.
No, I think he just sat there with the eye patch. Number 2.
But as number 2.
Yeah.
And didn't, what, excuse me? 1 minute. So it was interesting to me that Rob Lowe, who is considered a conservative in a way, was made to sit there with an eye patch and not say anything. And why he would do that and let himself do that, it shows you the hunger for any celebrity to be part of a Super Bowl commercial, because it's seen hopefully by billions of people. But as we've seen, NBC's disappointed in the lack of people watching the Olympics for a variety of reasons, again, much of them political, because the flyover people do matter. So when we come back, more about the game and the cultural message in the ravioli of watching the Super Bowl. You're listening to Davi.
Hi, this is Fred Dwyer talking about my favorite Italian restaurant, Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in downtown Fullerton. A fantastic place to eat. Come inside and dine in our Italian town square, complete with a 10-foot Christmas tree. That's right, 10 feet. Enjoy our food made from secret family recipes. Pasta, chicken, seafood, salads, and our delicious pizza. Incredible desserts, including my favorite, the tiramisu, flown directly in from Italy. Feel the spirit at Angelo and Vinci's, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022 or visit angelosandvincis.com. That's angelosandvincis.com.
If If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Have you heard about Vine to Bar chocolate? It's the winemaker's chocolate, the world's first chocolate made with well-vined Chardonnay marc from the beautiful coastal vineyards of North America. Gently pressed grapes are harvested after juicing, dried and finely milled and carefully blended into the finest dark chocolate. The Chardonnay marc contains highly beneficial grape nutrients, flavonols, and has a natural sweetness that flavors the luscious dark chocolate. Mouth-watering, flavorful, delectable dark chocolate goodness with Chardonnay sweetness and beneficial nutrients. And it's alcohol-free, too. It's Vine to Bar chocolate. Order some today at vinetobar.com. That's VINETOBAR.com. Cold shipped to your door, it's Vine to Bar. Vine to Bar chocolate. Visit us at vinetobar.com.
Attention real estate investors. Do you need cash immediately? If you own one or multiple rental properties, you can use your equity to get cash out fast. The best part is we don't need tax returns or even a good credit score. At America's Loan Source, we are not a bank and we don't have bank rules. We make the decisions to loan you money, and there's no limit how much we can give you. Some clients have gotten as much as $500,000 or more within days. Use the money any way you want. If you own one rental property or 100 and COVID has left you in a cash crunch, we can help you turn your equity into fast cash. Call now for details and close in as little as 10 days and get the cash you need. 800-353-1760. 800-353-1760. 800-353-1760. That's 800-353-1760.
The Robert Davi Show.
This is authentic.
Una furtiva lacrima negli occhi.
So, anyway, the pandering. And poor Rob Lowe sitting there like number two. Number two also has a connotation, doesn't it? Has a connotation, and I think that's what I found a bit. I think a part of the population is being defecated on by the cultural elite. Because if you're sensitive to this stuff, and they've made us sensitive to this stuff, the common man is watching things, and I understand for years. I mean, and you know, it's you have to realize something that I guess I'm not an expert. I don't know the statistics on this. Maybe you do, my dear friends, my listeners. But as you're driving along, think about this. The start of the nation, how it started, who started the nation, who the founding fathers were, and the extent of the population. Now, you would think that, let's say, if I went to a city in Africa, what would the, and let's just say it depended where. I mean, it's always, it's a sensitive subject. This is such a sensitive subject that we're not able to think it even out loud because someone will come and say you're a racist. But I believe that racism exists and bigotry on the other side more so than on the, I'm not saying that it didn't exist. It's certainly not in me. But I am sensitive when I watch something, and you can say that 80% of a commercial thing, or 80% of the shows, or what you're watching seems to be geared toward a biased cultural agenda. And that's as politically as I can say it. You can, get what you want out of that. But I'm watching and I'm going, well, this is kind of like, it seems to me, there's a political agenda going on, and it's ignoring the truth in terms of a population. Because let's just say you would think in life that you want to represent the people that you're representing. So if a nation is a certain amount of, be like going to Saudi Arabia, for instance, and having commercials with all Catholics and Christians, and maybe 10% with Muslims. I mean, I think in Saudi Arabia, people would say, well, that's a little bit imbalanced, don't you think? I mean, there's an imbalance there based on what the cultural aspect of what that nation looks like. Now, could that happen in Saudi Arabia, where you have commercials where most of the people are Catholic or Christian, and 10% or 15 or 22% are Muslim? No, it would be 22% would be, or whatever the percentage is, because I don't know what the percentage of Christians are in Saudi Arabia, but whatever represents that country. Africa, for instance. Do you go to Africa and do you see commercials with, what is the makeup of the commercials there? Has anyone done a study on that? Has anyone cared to do a study on that? And is it interesting to anyone? Or the shows? Now, I realize that we have to be much more, because it was imbalanced. I think there was a time when things were imbalanced, but I never felt that. I mean, I grew up with Sanford and Son and Webster, and I mean, there were a lot of different shows. It just is interesting to me when I watch those commercials. And some of them absolutely had a nice fairness about them. It's got to be a rock and a hard place. They all have to be between a rock and a hard place, I believe, some of these people. There's got to be something that's confusing all of them, this woke society that's creeped into the cultural elite, the corporations that are vying for our attention. And so that's another incident that we have to look at, don't we? What else? Well, the Olympics. I watched after that. I did watch. And I think the Olympics now, NBC is kind of depressed, because I think a few years ago they had 23 million people watching the Olympics. I remember when Profiler, we did a show, Profiler, I did for NBC from 96 to 99. And just before we aired, it was the Olympics. And it was a huge ratings boost. They were, promoting our show on that. And it was exciting to see a show promoted on the Olympics or on a sporting event. And we had a tremendous boost from the viewership of the Olympics, the awareness of the show. But now NBC is saying that the dismal Olympic ratings, where people before 23 million would watch the wrap-up at night, I think it's down to 10 million, 13 million, half that. So the relevancy of the Olympics has been in some way hurt because of controversy. I don't know if it's because it's in Beijing. I don't know if it's because COVID. Not sure what's creating or just there's so much more to watch. How many streaming services do we have now? How many opportunities do people have to watch something? What do you think it is, Bill?
Well, I think it could be a lot to do with the politics, China being the communist regime, and they were definitely getting some bad PR with the tennis player. Forgive me, I forget her name. With her disappearing from the tennis tour, a couple of months before the games. Obviously, the connections between China and the Biden administration and Hunter Biden and all the dirty words that go along with their bit. People are tired of that. And it's one of those things, honestly, I mean, I knew that this was an Olympic year, but completely by accident, I happened to see a snippet of the opening ceremonies when I was at a hockey game. And that was the only reason I even knew they were on right now. I mean, I think it probably hurts them a little bit because they are in China, just from the time change. If they were in Atlanta again, like they were back in '96 for the Summer Olympics, obviously the ratings would probably be improved, but still, I mean, they've shot themselves in the foot with that one.
Well, I think also absolutely with that, but politically, I mean, China, the COVID coming from China doesn't help. The Wuhan flu, and people are still debating on where that came from, and it's still a hot topic in terms of discussion, and also the fear of what's happening there to some of the athletes and how they treated, I think, a reporter from Denmark. So there has to be some kind of malaise in terms of people wanting to tune into the Olympics there. And it's a shame because these athletes are at their top form and have trained and dreamt. And I saw the figure skating last night, and the French team won the gold. And when you watch a sporting event, and you mentioned, I directed a film called My Son Hunter, and we get into his deals with China and also with the Ukraine, which is another hot topic that we'll talk about in the next segment, because everyone's nervous about what will happen here. And any day now, Ukraine might be invaded, and then the rest of Europe, the other Baltic states, I think are very nervous. They're sitting on a hot button of fear. And so what happens is you have the Biden administration that had dealings with China, or at least his son Hunter did, and dealings with the Ukraine, and dealings with Russia. And now we have these hot spots happening around the world. So it goes beyond just sports. Davi will be back in a minute. Stay tuned.
I'm Al Simon, 91 years young. I created Balance 7 20 years ago. I don't believe God intended for us to be old and sick. For 10 years, I studied pH and how important it is to the immune system. No doctor or hospital can do what Balance 7 can do for you. Balance 7 is the key to unlocking a healthy immune system. In 3 days' time, you'll feel more energy, less joint discomfort, and clarity of thinking. Bring your body back to balance. Order now and receive free shipping and a free bottle of My Slow Skin.
Get your body back in pH balance with Balance7.com. Balance 7 unlocks the immune system. Your body will respond in a wondrous way. Your energy level will go up, joint discomfort will be reduced, and heartburn no longer a problem. We have a 100% money-back guarantee. You have everything to gain. If you're sick and you don't want to be, Balance 7 is the answer. If you're healthy and want to stay healthy, Balance 7 is the answer. Go to Balance7.com. That's Balance7.com. Use the code word BALANCE and get free shipping. Balance7.com. That's Balance7.com.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares. First or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
The Robert Davi Show.
Mike, you let me down, Mike. You're making me look bad. I thought we had an understanding. And all I expect is a little cooperation.
Sorry, Robert.
It's funny how all those clips you play of my films, that was from Predator 2. They can mean something politically, imagine. You know, I directed this film, My Son Hunter, which I'm very proud of. It's, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people in terms of it, the integrity of it. It's not a hit piece. It's a satire. It's usual. The film that American Hustle was my prototype for it, and hopefully we've obtained some of that with a minimal of that budget, but it looks much bigger than our budget, and the performances are wonderful. But what I have is, let's see what happens. Uh-oh. My mic is going to sleep soon. If you lose me, it's because my battery died, and I'm going to try to sustain a little more here. I'll shut something off. I'll shut a light off. But if you do lose me, it's because the power died, and I've got to come up with some kind of power system that I can plug into. So, my dear friends, if you can get something ready to put in if you lose me, okay? You hear me? Have something prepped. But the Ukraine, Russia has 130,000 troops. Some people, some analysts are saying on the border of Ukraine and different areas of the Ukraine, they have their military, they have special forces, they have their naval vessels prepped. Not enough to take over the entire country, but enough to create some kind of havoc. And we're suspecting that by the end of the week or Wednesday, that Russia will make a move on the Ukraine. They've got some very more, let's say, advanced weapons, and it seems inevitable. Now, Joe Biden, remember the press conference he had with the Council of Foreign Relations when he talked about the Ukraine deal and about the money that they were going to give Ukraine unless they fired the prosecutor that was investigating certain things? Sounds like Russia's starting its
shelling.
It's shelling right now. How interesting. What is that?
They're dropping tiles off of that roof over there.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. If you're hearing that, I'm in Kiev. It has begun. The Russians have now started throwing tile off the roofs of the Ukrainian embassy in Kiev. And you're hearing an attack. No, I'm pulling you in Orson Welles right now. All of a sudden this happened. I don't know what the hell that is. But I will continue on. But that's what it's going to sound like in the Ukraine pretty soon. And it's got to be terrifying. And so Joe Biden gave money to the Ukraine. And John Kerry gave money to Iran. And I think Iran is funneling testing through North Korea. Makes sense that they would give North Korea money to test. for them, systems. They remember that old axis of evil comment. Well, these countries, Iran, North Korea, China, don't forget, they're all part of the same hand. Their fingers on part of the same hand. And one's a thumb, one's a pinky. But no matter what the size, that hand is probably China and Russia. And the world is in a much more precarious place because we have an administration who doesn't understand the geopolitical aspect of all of this. I mean, for John Kerry to let Iran have all that money is beyond me. We let these politicians continue to stay in office and do that. Biden's been in office for over 45 years. Nancy Pelosi's been in office for how many years? They get wealthy, they make deals, and they don't protect the nation or the people. But yet they move with whatever it is, with a political expediency that will continue them being elected and keep them in power while weakening the United States. It takes certain individuals. We needed, Donald Trump. We needed what they did to him, and now what we're finding also is the depth of what the Inspector General is doing with this, the investigation. The Durham investigation is uncovering the widespread corruption that happened on several different platforms in our government, spying on a president of the United States and members of his family and members of his cabinet, and none of the networks. You don't hear it from CNN. You don't hear it from anyone else. You don't hear a word from anyone else on this issue. You don't hear it from CNN nightly or MSNBC or ABC or The View. No one's talking about that, and I wonder why. And how do we let them continue to do that? So that's a frightening aspect to me. Something like that is something we have to change. So Russia's in their attack position. They've got potential weapon systems. Their social media battleground. Let's see this. What else do we have that we could talk about?
Well, you touched on the Iran situation too with Kerry.
Yes.
And a lot of that money that's going to Iran is actually getting funneled right back into Iraq as well with their federal police service and security services. A lot of them have been infiltrated and are sympathetic to the Iranian regime. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see some type of struggle going on again where Iran attempts to go in and subjugate Iraq, just like they did years and years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that whole, the whole geopolitical, it's thrown off.
Oh.
They made fun of Trump, and the minute they got him out of office, the globalists made a move. The Democratic Party, I think, is at the crux of it with, just what's happening. And we sit around and we, how do we get out of this mess? How do we inspire people to vote all the Democrats out of office in 2022? That's what's the most important thing. And all these other globalists, even on the GOP side, because you talk about, what's his name? McConnell. Talk about Mitch McConnell, another career politician that's made deals in China and other politicians.
Well, you touched on the sleeping giant earlier. Those the common man, that the blue collar workers that are out there trying to support their families day in and day out. And I think those people. Let me speak for myself. I don't want to project my beliefs on anybody else, but I've always been a conservative. That's the way I was raised. Those are the values I believe in. But I was always kind of the silent conservative until recently, when I'm seeing these things that, frankly, they piss me off, because it's common sense.
Well, it's unfair, isn't it?
It's completely unfair.
And you're seeing this unfairness, and you're being subjugated and pounded down and impotized. It's making people impotent in a certain way.
And told to just take it. And I know there's more people that think like I do, that feel the way I do, and we're tired of taking it. And it's time to...
You think they'll go to the voting booth? You think that they'll actually go to the voting booth?
I mean, I really hope so. I think the conservative side of things, whether or not, you're a Trump Republican or, more middle of the road Republican, or if you don't even consider yourself a Republican, if you believe in conservative values and you don't want to stand for what's happening in the nation, then yeah, you've got to get out and vote. And not only in the general election, but you've got to get out for the midterms.
Do you know people who haven't voted before?
Oh, absolutely.
And they're voting now?
Absolutely. I know people that still refuse to vote.
Why is that? What is it that they're refusing to vote? Why is there that apathy in terms of voting?
Well, I think there's a lot of people that think, well, my vote doesn't mean anything. One vote doesn't count. But when you add all those votes that don't count up, they count. And I think what happened with this last election, and whether or not you believe it was rigged, stolen, that Trump won or didn't, you got to admit, no matter where you fall on the issue, that there was some funny business that went on.
Well, they changed the rules in midstream on certain things.
100%.
That's definitive. And people don't want to get into that, of course, because it becomes, again, a conspiracy theory, and it minimizes the real effect of what they're doing, because it's insidious in terms of having an open border that Joe Biden has. It's insidious that the new mayor of New York City is saying that illegals should vote. That are here for a month or so. When people that have... So you have to ignite the Hispanic community, the black community, the white community. We have to unite the Asian community. We have to unite, and we have to make sure people that are afraid to vote or haven't voted or apathetic, we've got to get under their... We have to open up their mind in some way to say it's important. That one vote counts. Davi, see you tomorrow. God bless all of you. God bless America.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately?